Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Mechabellum ranked analysis. As we go into another one of my games that I played lately that was really interesting and also showed me the power of a couple of units on both sides. I really enjoyed my enemy's strategy as well. But yeah, let's go in here and let's see from the start. Obviously, I will go through my thought process here. The choices here, I like the Stormcallers, but I didn't really like the combo here with the Rhinos and the Marksman. Supply Specialist is nice, but Steel Balls and Fangs not so great. So I went for Elite Specialist with Fangs and Phoenixes. Whilst my enemy went for Fangs with Sledgehammer and Speed, which on paper always sounds a bit weird because you put Speed on two slow units, but that means percentage-wise, they get the biggest benefit out of it. Having faster Sledgehammers and faster Fangs actually is kind of cool. And as you can see, my enemy didn't buy any units early on, but rather invested into the damage sharing, which made the tanks really tanky from the get-go, and made it so that my Fangs would have a bad time against even more so than they already do from the get-go. Also means that my Phoenixes don't one-shot them anymore. And obviously, yeah, my Fangs not having a good time here. As I have the Elite Specialist, I only could afford one new unit, one level 1 Fang here was what I went for at the beginning. And then the first battle did commence, in which obviously the Sledgehammers here absolutely destroyed me. My Phoenixes here trying to get the kill there, but thanks to the extra hit points that you also get with the damage sharing, not just like the in general tankiness due to sharing, but also the overall hit points, the combined hit points gets increased. My Phoenixes took all the while to kill them, and then obviously Phoenixes versus Fangs, not great. So the Fangs got the kill here. Here I went for the Haste Martyr because I considered going into some big units later on maybe, or some flanks. Enemy went for subsidized crawlers, making free upgrades for the crawlers happening, and went for crawlers with that. So that was the thought there. But I went, because I was elite and I have quite a good damage loadout here on the Arclights. I went for the Arclights. I also have Elite Marksman, so having them level 2 from the get-go obviously stacks better with Elite Marksman. Nice with the Phoenixes that have Elite Marksman as well. And yeah, obviously, like, Sledgehammers are a problem, but we were able to kill them with the Phoenixes, but we were not able to deal with the Crawlers and the Fangs, or the Fangs especially. So I thought Arclights versus the Fangs would be nice. Enemy invested in 2 level 2 Crawlers here, which they obviously didn't knew we would go into Arclights. With the Arclights, the Crawlers became quite useless. As you can see, they died pretty quickly here. And now the level 2 Arclights started to fire on the Sledgehammers, sadly, as the Fangs were well placed in the rear here by the enemy. So they didn't focus down the small units. Only the last shot goes in here. So second round is a loss as well, but damage-wise not too high, as we even kill a couple of the Fangs here. So less than 300 points of damage. That's damage we can take, but obviously in the midterm we need to figure that out. With so many small units and units with not insanely high damage, I went for Barrier. Enemy went for... I'm not quite sure what they went for. Kind of missed that there. I guess maybe nothing at all. Now the Sledgehammers here, pretty high on the level. And I went for more Arclights, positioning them a bit more around, hoping that they would find the Fangs faster. And knowing that with the charged shot, I can make them pretty big damage dealers, especially as I could combine them with Elite Marksman. And with the electromagnetic shot, I also have a unit that can deactivate. You always want to have one unit in your loadout, or a couple of units that fit your loadout with electromagnetic shots, so that you can deactivate obnoxious enemy abilities. Like, I would recommend having 2 or 3 units in your loadout that have that, so that you can bring them in if you have problems with enemy abilities. Also, let's deactivate the chat here. Whilst Phoenixes go for the kill on all of these units. And this time, it worked out. Phoenixes killed the Sledgehammers, all the small units got murdered by the Arclights. So Arclight combo starts working. Here we have the option between super tankiness and super damage dealer, but as the enemy already went for Ignite, super tankiness wouldn't help us, as Ignite Fangs burned through that no matter what, as they do percentage-based damage. So I went for the extra damage, and I went for some extra Phoenixes to help out with that damage. 200% extra damage here, really helpful. And as they come in on level 2, already with pretty high damage, with the advanced firing system, they absolutely murder. Even against combined sledgehammers, they do fantastic damage. Whilst the enemy here really going for mass fangs, meaning that I can't really invest into big units. I need my fangs as the shield in front. Though obviously against sledgehammers they are somewhat vulnerable. Arclights here, with their fast damage dealing potential, quite nice against fangs who currently don't have any extra protection. They don't have the shield upgrade, so as long as the Arclights can fire on the fangs, which they do here partially in the middle, they do great damage. Issue is when they focus down the enemy sledgehammers before they shoot at the fangs, that it takes a bit too long maybe. But over here, this fight gets pretty close again. Both sides destroying turrets now. And the enemy going for the next turret here. Their Sledgehammer with the 200% extra hit points. Really, really tanky. Quite frustrating to deal with. And both sides here going into really heavily upgraded and really strong 3-unit combos, which is something that is pretty standard. Like 3 to 4 units is usually what you see into the late game, where it goes up to 5 to 6 units often. But you shouldn't invest into too many different units. You should rather try to focus on positioning, try to get 3 to 4 great combinations. And yeah, now here, Incendiary Bomb was the easy choice. I expected my enemy to go for shields here. They didn't do that though. So the Incendiary Bomb was really effective. Enemy didn't go for anything like that. They rather invested into more unit upgrades here. Pretty high level fangs. And shields on the fangs. Whilst my Arclights here doing pretty well. Enemy going for rocket here as well. I'm not too sure that was worthwhile. My fangs here, not the most worthwhile targets. And I believe, unfortunately, this for my opponent, this was also the turn where I invested into portable shields. Because I wanted to have my fangs tank more damage for my Arclights and my Phoenixes, who were the damage dealer of the whole shenanigans. As you can see, I didn't upgrade any of the fangs. And as they were just there for soaking up the first shot. And yeah, here we go. Shield in the north, because I expected the enemy to have the Incendiary Bomb as well. And gambled that they would use it in the north. They didn't, but that meant that our one in the center here was really effective, eating through their Fang army really quickly. And allowing me to destroy the sides here and really catch up in damage dealt to the enemy, or going even further ahead, as we started with a good bit more hit points here than the opponent. Yes, they have pretty hard to kill sledgehammers, even though we have Phoenixes, even though our Arclights already have the 200% extra damage. They didn't really do enough damage to kill these guys quickly. So enemy went even deeper into that. Level 3 sledgehammers there. Pretty tanky. Whilst Arclights, for now, already pretty good damage. But without the elite marksman, not quite insane damage yet. Also, range obviously still pretty low and all of that. And I forgot to upgrade the Phoenixes here. Something that I should have done in this turn. As the enemy now went for repairs, making their tanks pretty tanky. And if you already invest into the 200% extra damage, you really should keep these guys as insane level damage dealer and should keep them leveling up if you already give them an item like that. I instead went for more arc lights and for the elite marksman, which gives my arc lights pretty good range and also like really high damage now, 6,600 on these level 4 ones, especially the ones that are level 3 and level 4. Really getting good rewards out of it, but thanks to our ability, even ones that we buy new on level 2 already profit quite nicely from it. So a good combo there. Whilst the phoenixes in the sky try their best, but these sledgehammers here all dying relatively quickly. The ones on level 2 already not so easy to kill. And the level 3 one with 200% extra hit points kinda became immortal in this turn, as we just didn't have the damage output on our arc lights and on our phoenixes to deal with that. The one down here finally falling. And only one of our phoenixes, level 2 phoenixes with the 200% extra damage, surviving. And even with them being weakened, with the enemy being weakened, with only one of these phoenixes, and with them only being level 2, damage was not enough here to fully get through, as the enemy was able to weaken us now. So we dealt really little damage, and then only the phoenixes survived, and the phoenixes not quite good enough to get the kill here. So yeah, enemy got me here in the rear. Really interesting combo there, just with some basic units. Good positioning with fangs in the rear, the sledgehammers in the front. Only thing I didn't enjoy, like on my opponent's side was the crawlers, both positioning wise and as an investment early on. But yeah, I would have, even if you buy them, put them a bit further back, because they just rushed way too far ahead every time in front of the enemy units. I went for the orbital, enemy went for javelin to try to take out some high level arc lights. But luckily I spread them out nicely so that they couldn't hit too many at once. And level 4 arc lights here now, level 5 arc light here, leveling up. If you have elite marksman, obviously worthwhile. Not so much worthwhile for the fangs here. But yeah, finally leveled up the phoenix, now 29,000 damage. Really, really good. If I would go elite marksman, that would obviously skyrocket even further. But for now, enemy still went into more fangs, so I thought more arc lights would do the job, especially with elite marksman, the extra damage, and now electromagnetic shot, so that I could deactivate the repair ability, could separate the damage sharing ability as well, and also deactivate the fangs ignite a bit to reduce their damage in that regard. And in general, just deactivate against a player that uses a lot of abilities here. But most importantly against the sledgehammers, so that they don't constantly repair against the damage I deal. As they don't deal massive damage back to me either, so the fights take rather long. And then, if they don't repair, we can whittle them down. And like arc lights, basically pretty much all-rounder units here now, as thanks to a 200% extra damage and the elite marksman, they do great damage, and they have great AoE from the get-go. So against all the small stuff, they're good as a baseline, and now they even become pretty solid against the tanks here. As you can see, they now really start to shred. Enemy needs to find a new solution for this problem. As with the electromagnetic shot, the sledgehammers stop working. The extra damage on the Phoenix also really helps now, one-shotting the weaker sledgehammer lines completely on level 3. Here, nothing really for me. Enemy goes for level 3 Fangs. Makes sense with the Fang army. But against the Arclights, that obviously starts to struggle if the sledgehammers can't do the tanking anymore. So, new solution needs to be found. And the enemy comes up with a pretty clever plan now. I go for Vulcan, as I still had the barrier from the get-go. And against these small damage-dealing units, the shield will hold out for quite a while. Plus, incendiary bombs here can set this whole thing in place, and then the enemy units that run through it will struggle. And the enemy went for Wasp. And currently, I don't really have much AA, or much good AA. I have some Fangs here, but also, they don't just go for Wasps, they go for Wasps with shields, and then also position them on my flank to really get obnoxious. And yeah, get the extra damage in. Warp in coming in. They didn't go for the strike ability, so it takes them a while here. And the fire of my Vulcan here still pretty helpful. Burning away the enemy fangs here quite quickly. Definitely not the perfect spread, and the deactivation of my flank here really, really brutal. And all my fangs obviously already dead. Sledgehammers took care of that. And currently my Arclights can't shoot up, but I have the anti-air upgrade in here. I changed the range upgrade for the Arclights out for that anti-air upgrade, and I was really happy that I did that when I saw the Wasps, because otherwise this Wasp flank would have been insanely hard to deal with. But with the loadout on my Arclights as great damage dealers, they now also become all-rounder, and as you can see, like, I really went down that Arclight lane, as this was a great matchup for them in my eyes. Enemy went even more fangs, went even more Sledgehammers. All the Wasps could level up, and they did mad with those. And I had to react to that flank, which is something I did by putting down some more Arclights and getting the Arclight anti-air upgrade, making them quite strong against Wasps, who are obviously small targets. With shield, Wasps still somewhat tanky. And now my enemy did a mistake. They invested into the reposition ability on the Wasps. They put them on the front line. I don't know why they didn't just swap side with them and flank me one more time over here. I like the idea with the jump drive, moving on them to the other side. I really wasn't a fan of going just directly in the front line, as even the fangs there would have been annoying. Shield, good against the flame shot, stops my flames from going everywhere. We still had some flames effective in the middle though, eating away the Wasps and the fangs, and the Wasps here absolutely getting massacred by the Arclights now, by the Arclight AoE. The Overlord also will get shot by great Phoenixes and Arclights, which do insane damage here. Phoenix absolutely murdering it, and as you can see, the Arclight frontline here now completely dominating. 4 upgrades, and yeah, only 4 units for either side, but full upgrades here, as you can see in the end on the Arclights, and those absolutely ruled the game. Arclights now, since they got buffed, really lovely unit, and I ended up with the W here. So yeah, let me know down below what you think about the Arclight. What would you have done in my stat? What would you have done on Monopolizer's plan? And yeah, let me know what you want to see next about Mechabellum. And see you next time, guys. Bye-bye, and have a great day.